Hello. Give her a second to get on. But so I was looking at her porch. I was like, I don't see anything. And then I looked at her driveway. I was like, oh, okay. So I was definitely grateful. These
Yeah.
people are so supportive. I have no idea who they even are. But anytime I have
Wow.
anything, they just like, let us know. And I just pick up boxes if it's a little sketchy, but hey. Stephanie, can you hear? Can you see? I think you muted yourself.
I did. I'm sorry.
I don't want to unmute her. I'll try to. Oh, maybe I have to unmute her. Let me see.
There she goes. She says, yes, I can. She can hear us.
Oh, okay. All
She's
right.
messaging in the chat.
I see it now. Well, welcome, Stephanie. I was waiting a couple seconds to see if some other people were coming. But my name is Latoya. I am one of the doulas, or as I like to call myself, birth worker with the Tree of Life. I know we're happy that you are here. Can you tell us, do you have any experience? Today, our topic is breastfeeding. Do you have any experience with breastfeeding? Are you looking to breastfeed?
Hey, yeah, sorry, I have my 3-year-old in the background, so that's why I was muting because he's racing cars at the moment.
Hey, that's okay. Look, I have 5. I had to give them like a lot of threats before this started, so we understand.
So I'm due in November with my third, and I did not have really good breastfeeding experiences with the first 2, so I'm kind of like starting from scratch. So
I can understand that, Stephanie. I personally, I have five kids myself, and 5 different breastfeeding experiences, and I didn't feel like I kind of got it right until the 4th one. So just know that there is hope. There is hope. My 4th one was actually my longest breastfeeding experience. She didn't stop till I had to cut her off at 4. So, and that was going from my other ones not even making it past like 6 months, or with some, going back to work or whatever the case may have been. So just know that each experience is different, and with help and guidance and just, I guess, a little more preparation and education, you can have the experience that you may hope for or may have envisioned. So I'll go ahead and get started kind of with what we were going to talk about today, because I know with Zoom I only have it for, I guess, 45 minutes. So we are going to be looking at, it's called Milk Magic. It is a breastfeeding lactation curriculum. And let's see, I'm trying to share my screen. There we go. So today I will be putting a link in the chat box for a breastfeeding coloring sheet. And we're also going to be doing a breastfeeding goal sheets that I'll be sharing with you as well, to kind of get your mind wrapped around the fact we do kind of need to make goals around breastfeeding. I think we go into it saying, thinking it is something that does come naturally, but it also is something that we have to prepare and kind of educate ourselves on as well. So without further ado, like I said, we are using the Milk Magic. And lactation is natural, but like I said, it does require learning. Our culture, systems, and practices makes feeding human milk even more difficult than it should be. We hear all the conversations surrounding breastfeeding, and some may say, should we even be having these conversations? This is something that comes naturally. This is something our body does naturally. Should we cover up? Should we not cover up? Do we need to have a space at work? Do we need to have spaces in shopping developments and things like that? But breastfeeding is something that comes natural. In every other culture is something that it is accepted. It is something that is promoted. It is something that is passed down from generation to generation. But somewhere along the lines, we kind of broken down that transfer of knowledge. And so that's kind of what we're trying to recover from. We're trying to recover from all this missing information of things that were kind of done naturally. What I say back in the day, kind of what we're doing before we had all these interventions and all these other options. So our program, this workshop is a 2-3 hour workshop. And of course, I'm not going to have time to go through all of those things, but we do focus on feeding at the breast or chest, but we do understand and provide some solutions for people who have assisted nursing devices, donor milk, people who exclusively breastfeed, and do responsive bottle feeding. Because at the end of the day, we know that baby has to eat. So let's first talk a little bit about what human milk actually does. I know that it wasn't until I really started studying about it till I really understood how amazing it actually was. And it made me really want to fight for my fourth birth to be able to do this the way that I really wanted to do it. So human milk changes. It changes to meet the needs of our babies at each stage of the development. So I thought it was a little weird that I had a toddler nursing, and I never thought I would be that mom. I never thought I would be that mom. But I instantly got amazed when I realized that the body creates like a concentrated version of milk. So of course, it's not the same milk that she was getting as an infant. Or as a newborn, but the body actually changes for each stage of that development, and it gives that child what it needs at each stage. I thought that was pretty cool. The quantity and composition of the milk changes daily and even throughout the day to match the baby's needs. So our bodies are truly fearfully and wonderfully made. It changes as our baby changes. Of course, it helps to shape the gut microbiomes. So our milk is full of the critical prebiotics and probiotics that establish that healthy microbiome in our stomachs, which checks our immune responses, our metabolism, and help us to be resistant to infections. So we know that it just helps with kind of getting the baby's stomach and gut prepared to successfully fight off these things that we're even dealing with today. Our milk creates new cells, organs, and tissues. So even after pregnancy, your body continues to build for your baby's body. So our stem cells from our human milk crosses into the baby's bloodstream to form any of those 200 different types of cells found in the human body. So I just think it's just amazing how our Most High just thinks of every little thing when it comes to his creations. And then even when we create, everything is just down to the detail. Our human milk communicates through hormonal signals. So I didn't know that I had a baby, a premature baby, and had a baby in the NICU. And so when I was pumping, I had to label my milk AM milk and PM milk. And that was my second child in the NICU, and it was my second child that I pumped for. But my first NICU nurses didn't make me do that, so I thought that was odd. I didn't know that our daytime milk differs from our nighttime milk. So the nighttime milk has those hormones that help babies sleep. It helps to regulate their sleeping cycle and help to reduce the colic. So if you are a mom that has to pump, you need to label your bottles, AM and PM. What milk is it, so that you know what milk you're giving your baby, because you definitely want to get those nighttime hormones in to help baby sleep good. And I'm sure everybody knows that the human milk helps fight sickness with the immunofactors. So as our baby gets sick, the studies show that the breast milk changes to kind of help fight what baby has going on at that time. So I think those are all just some little cool facts about um, kind of the health benefits of breastfeeding. Some of the things we all might have been familiar with already, but I did want to spend a little bit of time on meeting the challenges, because I feel like I know personally with two of my breastfeeding experiences, I feel like I could have gone a little bit longer if I would have known how to meet certain challenges. Um, Actually knowing what's going on with baby, for example, knowing that at different milestones, babies are going to require more milk. And so then that cluster feeding comes. But if you're not aware of the cluster feeding, you might be thinking, oh, my baby's not getting enough milk. Oh, it's just, she won't stop crying. Oh, I'm doing something wrong, and get frustrated. But instead of knowing, okay, this is just a phase, this is a cycle, and to know that baby's actually communicating with your body and everything is going just fine. So meeting some of our challenges. So one of the challenges are medical interventions can disrupt the psychology of breastfeeding initiation. So, if you have C-sections, it's just important for us to know that what to do in certain situations. Birth preferences is one way that you can kind of help with the solution. If you have a birth worker or a doula, they should have gone over like a birth plan with you. So throughout that birth plan, we're going to put our birth preferences, and we're going to prepare for low interventions during birth. And we're going to consider certain things like avoiding those routine interventions, letting your labor start on its own. Because if it doesn't, we know that it sometimes lead to C-sections. C-sections, they disrupt that natural kind of put baby onto your chest and just those moments. Use a doula if you have access to it. Always go back to skin to skin to reset the breastfeeding process. I did not realize how important skin to skin was until I had my child in the NICU. And it was just amazing how my body would respond to just having my baby on my chest. And did you know that when you do skin to skin, your body heats up where the baby is? I just think that is so cool how responsive our body is to just like our babies and our little creations. So wherever you put your body onto your skin, it warms up in just that area. Another solution is hand expression. I know when I had babies in the NICU, we couldn't immediately start the breastfeeding process. And so hand expression is something that I had to resort to, or I had to get a pump or a little cup. We hand express into a little cup to feed the baby the colostrum. So just make sure your providers know that you want to breastfeed, or know that you would like to have the option of donor milk. So that is something that you can look into when you are looking for your birthing space. You need to know, will donor milk be on hand, so that you include those kind of things into your birth plan. Let's see. So another challenge is the misconception that because lactation is natural, it should also come naturally. But nursing actually requires learning on both part of the parent and the baby. And I think that is definitely one of the biggest misconceptions. We think baby's gonna pop up, pop out. We see all these stories, the baby like moving their head right to the breast. So we think it's just gonna go on and everything's gonna be great. I'm going to be a little cow. It's going to happen. But there are actually a lot of challenges that comes with breastfeeding. And if you're not prepared to meet those challenges, it could be discouraging, and it could actually end your journey a lot sooner than it actually has to end. So one of the solutions is infant competencies. We have to realize baby is learning. Baby is doing this for the first time, just like sometimes we're doing this for the first time as well. So we just need to look for signs such as rooting, and that's turning toward, or he's simulating opening the mouth, and that's called rooting. So we're looking for just signs and signals that our baby is actually trying to do to breastfeed. Sucking, automatic sucking when something is put in the baby mouth. So sometimes we put our finger. Right, and like they might try to go to her or put her hand in there sucking. That shows that the baby might be hungry. Capitalize on baby's instincts with the laid back position. So positioning is so important. Breastfeeding, watch YouTube's gonna be your best friend. You're gonna have to find what works best for you. So lying back, gravity helps babies inborn feeding reflexes, which can make a huge difference when it comes to baby getting their coordination. So you might have to try different positions for you and baby, but you need to definitely keep trying until you find something that works. Another challenge is many parents report breastfeeding pain and cracked nipples due to incorrect latch. Breastfeeding shouldn't be painful. It is kind of painful in the beginning because your body is adjusting to somebody pulling on it, pulling on your nipples. Like it is something that is going to take some getting used to. When your milk comes in, your milk drops. These are all things that may be uncomfortable, but we should not be experiencing pain for the most part when it comes to breastfeeding. So we need to know what a good latch looks like. So one thing that they say, you can tickle the baby nose with your nipple to try to get the baby to open their mouth. Open the mouth wide, chin covering, covering the bottom of the areola. And we see that the latch is more so at the bottom of the breast and not right on top of the nipple. So it's going to be out like a fish to create that full circle of suction. So if you are in pain, one of the things that you need to consider is the latch. With most insurance providers, you are provided with a lactation consultant. So you can have a meeting with the consultant to have them actually look at the baby's latch. You have a doula or somebody else supporting you, get some help with that latch. So know what to avoid. So like I said, it's not going to be right full on the nipple. The milk has to go down easily into the baby's mouth. So this is the bad latch versus a good latch. Um, Skin to skin. That is another helpful solution. Latching challenges can be resolved with just more skin to skin time. You getting to know baby and baby getting to know you. One study showed that a simple interaction of spending time skin to skin with the breastfeeding parent helped latching and nursing issues resolve more quickly than nursing support alone. Sometimes mom is just nervous, especially if it's a first time mom. Baby moves like, what's that? Huh? What's that? Sometimes it just takes you actually being comfortable and getting comfortable with baby. And so that's why that skin to skin kind of helps to relax both parties and could kind of help with that latch and help baby relax, help you relax. Caring and co-sleeping. So, if you can see, one of the common trends is just physical contact. So carrying your baby, I don't know if anybody likes to wear their baby, but I didn't learn about wearing babies till like number 3 or 4 as well. And I'm like, what in the world? But it just makes life so much easier. You get to monitor the airway. Of course, the face is uncovered, visible. You get to get kisses. And once again, you have that contact. The baby's feeling your skin. And it's just creating that bond. It's creating a bond. Some people do not agree with co-sleeping, but co-sleeping, breastfeeding on back, firm surface, non-smoking household, face uncovered, with the hair tied back, no drugs or alcohol, of course, and no sleeping aids if you do decide to co-sleep. But it's also, once again, just about having that contact, having that bond, baby feeling comfortable, mom feeling comfortable. Um, and just kind of helping everybody to relax with the process. All right. Another challenge is perceiving that you have insufficient milk. And that is one reason why parents stop breastfeeding earlier than expected. And I know for me, that was a situation for 2 of my breastfeeding experiences. And that's why I say one of my mottos is when you know better, you do better. And so that's why my 4th experience was just like a total victory for me. And I'm like, we're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep going. I just did not expect to go 4 years. But it can take several days after birth for your supply to come in, and that is normal. I thought, when you got pregnant, milk came in. Your milk doesn't even come in until after you had a baby. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. So one of the solutions is to feed on demand. You're going to watch the baby, not the clock. Best way to ensure baby's getting enough is feeding frequently and letting the baby lead the feeding schedule. So you're feeding on demand. Don't wait till your baby gets hangry to start feeding, because that is going to cause problems. So you want to catch the baby before they get to a point of where they're fussy and upset, and because that will make it difficult for baby to latch. One of our solutions is to recognize cues. When you see being in physical contact through caring or skin to skin will kind of help you recognize those hunger cues earlier. You see them like going down to your breast or reaching down for your breast. So that's one of the benefits of the carrying and just having that contact with your baby. This was the biggest thing for me, is understanding your baby's tummy size. Your body's going to make what your baby needs. So we need to see, day 1 is kind of the size of a cherry. Then it goes to the size of a walnut and an apricot and an egg. So we're not really talking about a lot of milk. So if you're pumping and you're saying, oh, well, I'm only making this amount of milk. Well, how old is baby and how big is baby's tummy size? Because that might be exactly what you need to be making. So it's definitely important to just have education about the phases and the stages that you and baby are in. So poops, another thing, understanding the poops, the first one's gonna be black. It's gonna and that should only be like within the first 24 hours. And then normally babies lose weight first. Breastfed babies have softer, more frequent poops than formula-fed babies. And also sometimes breastfed babies can go days without pooping because they're absorbing everything and they don't need to poop anything out. So you're gonna have to become a poop expert. I know you try to avoid that all your life, but now you're gonna have to really get down with the down and dirty. So I didn't want to leave a couple minutes to see if anybody had any questions or anything, but I want you to prepare to ask for help. You need to have concrete requests of your friends and family before your baby comes. Get with a good support group. Find out if you have any lactation consultations with your insurance company. But the point is that you need to make sure you're educating yourself and preparing yourself. I'm going to be putting in the chat box. Let's see. I wanted to share. Oops. So it is a goal sheet that you can use. We're gonna have some breastfeeding goals. I will breastfeed my baby for, what is your goals? I will feed only breast milk for, what are your goals? When I need support, who will you call? And I will nourish myself while nourishing the baby by. I think it's very important that we have to remember that we have to nourish ourselves as well. If we're not nourishing ourselves, how is baby getting nourishment? If we're not sleeping, if we're not drinking our water, if we're not taking our vitamins, try not to quit on a bad day. Get the support you need during the challenging time so that you can stop on your own terms. So you don't want to stop just because, things aren't going well or you're frustrated. You want to stop because it's time to stop. Like I never thought, like I said, that I would be breastfeeding for 4 years, but I will say that it was nice to stop because, I felt like it was time to stop, not because I had to stop. So I will just open the floor up for some questions before they try to kick us out of Zoom. I don't know if anybody had any specific questions about breastfeeding. Well, I'll put this stuff in the chat box. And I will also put these things in our Facebook page as well. So you can have it there.
Is there a class that you recommend, like a certain online class that you recommend?
Well, I will honestly
specifically for breastfeeding.
Well, let's see. There's not one that I specifically recommend. I will say that I do plan on trying to do some more classes with, like, the next one I do plan to get into some more details that I couldn't because we only had 45 minutes this time. But I will say YouTube is your best friend. There are a lot of experiences out there. There are a lot of people who are going through, been through, making videos, documenting things that work for them, things that haven't worked for them. That's generally what I send to my moms, and I can put that in the Facebook page as well. I send a YouTube folder, and it just has a lot of videos about just postpartum things and things we had to think about postpartum, such as breastfeeding, and has the breastfeeding tips. Stephanie, do you live in Burlington? Well, in Alamance County?
I do not. I live in Davidson
Okay.
County.
Well, if you send us a message on the Facebook page, I will get you your gift bag because I do have gift bags for everybody in attendance today. So if you send me, I'll put my email in here too. You can either email me or send us a message on our Facebook page, and I'll make sure that you get your gift bag. Are you going to have a birth support for your birth?
Well, like I've looked into getting a doula, but financially, like it's just not the ones that I've looked at. Like there's other than that, that's about it.
I can understand that. So if you send me a message, and I will send you some things that with some videos and some links to some things that you can kind of do to kind of help you prepare. And if you have any questions, we definitely are always here. You know, you can reach out. My goal is for every mom to be supported. So, you know, if you have questions, you can definitely always reach out. And even if it's about preparing for birth. Do you have any specific questions or things that you might feel like you need some help or support with? We have about 2 minutes.
I mean, so like my first two, I had an epidural. So this time, obviously, with like I've stayed at home, so I've had way more time to research and learn a lot more. I did get the Hypnobirth Baby book, but I'm like, I know me, I'm not going to be able to get myself that calm. So,
well, I will say the biggest thing.
I guess really like
the biggest thing is about knowing what phase you are in labor, right? And knowing exactly what's going on with your body. Most people revert to epidural because they don't know exactly what's going on. So I have found in my experience, when a woman gets to the point where she's like, I can't take it no more, I need something, she's almost there. Like the baby's literally almost out. But they don't know that, and they're requesting an epidural. Then they get the epidural, and the epidural slows everything down, where baby could have might been out in 30 minutes, you know, if we would have just kept going down this route. So I would say that just education is a big piece, and knowing exactly what's
I
going
think that is
on
definitely
with your body.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing I got out of that book, was realizing like the stages of what's going on instead of freaking out. Like you said, and that's what she
Exactly.
said multiple times, is like, majority of the time, if you're at that point where you're like, all right, I'm done, I can't do this anymore,
You
your baby's
right
coming.
there.
Like it
You
is
right
going to be
there.
there. So now that I know that, I'm like way more
Exactly.
prepared of like, okay, because I mean, with my second, I was in labor for like 5 hours. I'm like, it could have been 3 if I didn't get the epidural, you know.
Exactly.
So
It's educate. I say,
and
like
so
I
now,
said,
like
when
my
you know
first, I was
better, when you do better.
infused. Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah,
this. I don't want
exactly.
this to just
So
cut off on you. I don't know if it's just gonna cut off because it says I have less than a minute. But you can reach out to us on the Trail Life Collective page on Facebook. I'm on Earthside Harmony.
okay.
I would love to talk to you more. Like I